What's up, guys? Ballin With Blizzy back with another video. This week, previewing the Farmers Insurance Open from Torrey Pines Golf Course in Southern California. We're going to take a look at the odds. We're going to take a look at the course preview. Of course, we're going to build our own model over at rickrungood.com, and then we'll jump over to DraftKings and see if we can come up with a single entry lineup that works for this week. Sep Straka, not a hit, by the way, last week. So we're going to try to get back on track. Let's jump right in, starting with the course preview over at BetSperts. So Farmers Insurance Open at Torrey Pines. 3 of the 4 rounds, of course, will be at the Torrey Pines South Golf Course, and then 1 round either Thursday or Friday, depending on which wave you're in, from the North Course. This will be a totally different test of golf, way more difficult than last week over at La Quinta Nicklaus Tournament Stadium course. That Amex is really just a scoring fest, and Scotty Scheffler, of course, put on a show. You can kind of see that here. Scoring this week should be a complete reversal from last week's Birdie Fest at the Amex. We know this is a course, the South Course, that has hosted a U.S. Open, so it's obviously a good test of golf. It ranks as the 5th most difficult layout on tour. We know there's going to be a ton of long irons. It's just kind of a second shot golf course. You've got to be really good with your long irons. You're not going to have a ton of short approaches into these greens. Yeah, you see that here. Sea level, Torrey Pines plays longer than the scorecard yardage due to softer fairways and the cooler January air. Long irons will be unavoidable. That's just how this course plays. We'll look at the field over in a second, but just getting a quick look at guys who have typically played well here by average finish. It's a mixed bag. Some of these guys, of course, these vets on tour, Finau, Matsuyama, Bradley, Jason Day, Justin Rose, they got a ton of years here. So there's going to be a ton of good results. Like you see Finau, a 4th, a 6th, a 6th, a 2nd, a 9th, a 6th. I mean, just a string of top 10s. But of course, he's missed the cut here twice in the last 4 years. So it's just one of those golf courses. It's going to be a true test of golf. And honestly, I think it might be, at least early on, an advantage for the guys who didn't play last week. I mean, just going from a kind of a short second shot layout that we played at the Amex, this is going to be a totally different type of golf. You're going to have to grind. You're going to have to avoid bogeys a lot of the time here. A guy like Maverick McNeely hasn't necessarily played well here. Just one top 15, but a guy that I like in California. But let's jump over to the field and the odds board so we can kind of get an idea of what that looks like. So taking a look at the odds board over on DraftKings, Xander comes in as the favorite. Ludwig Oberg just right behind him, 17-1. As we know, Ludwig won at this course when it hosted the Genesis last year when Riviera was destroyed by those wildfires. Cameron Young, I really like him this week. I think he sets up well. Interesting number here, not 20-1, not 19-1, but 1950-1. Patrick Cantlay, I think he's going to play well. He seems to play his best golf early in the season at these California tracks. Chris Gotterup coming off a win already on the young season. JJ Spawn, a guy that plays these types of tracks well. You know, he's going to find the fairway, and then he's good with his long irons. Maverick McNeely tends to play his best on these California tracks as well. I like what we've seen from him. Harris English, another guy who's good with his long irons and can sort of just cobble it together and not make a lot of mistakes on tracks like this. Keegan Bradley, 38-1. Thor Bjornsson, all the talent in the world. Will Zalatoris, will be interesting to see him as he continues to round back into playing form. Brooks Koepka making his tournament re-debut, or excuse me, his tour re-debut after taking the bag from Liv initially. We don't know that we've gotten the best Brooks over the last couple of years. It's been kind of off and on. We don't know if that's injury related. We don't know if that's effort related, mindset related, but it's good to see that he wants to be back and that he's being allowed back on tour. Hopefully we can get some good Brooks golf this season on tour. Marco Penge, another guy that we like to talk about. Really strong season last year on the DP World Tour. He can hit it a mile. Gained a lot of fans and a lot of fanfare last year. We'll see if he can bring it over to the PGA Tour against the best in the world. Theegala had a nice weekend at the Amex, 76-1, still a good number for his talent. See if he can continue the good play from the weekend over at the Amex. Akshay Bhatia, a guy that you would not expect to see down here, 82-1, based on some of the ceiling that we saw from him the last couple of years. But alas, here he is. Aaron Rai, a guy who, again, going to find the fairway, going to really not make a ton of mistakes and should be able to hang with guys because he is a sharp second shot player. Andrew Novak, a guy I like this week a lot, 110-1. I think he sets up really well. Johnny Kiefer, all the talent in the world, but will that translate to the tour? Eric Cole, you got to shout him out at 150-1. Tony Finau, don't love seeing him at 171, but probably his best years are already behind him. We saw, again, that he does play well at this course, has a number of top 10s at this course historically, but just haven't seen the best of Finau over the last couple seasons. Tom Kim, another guy that you don't really love seeing down here at 210-1. He really took the tour by storm when he first came on, bagged, I think, like 3 wins in his first year. But again, has not been playing good golf over the last 12 to 18 months. Luke Clanton, be interesting to see if he can get on track. This time last year, he was like the hot name. And Davis Riley, another guy with all the talent in the world. Will he put it together? We shall see. But let's jump over to rickrungood.com. All right, so let's dive in. We know that long irons will be at a premium. We know that we care about bogey avoidance. Let's get weighted strokes gained total. Let's give that 15. Somewhere between 10 and 20. I think I like to always start there. I think finding the fairway is going to be important at a place like this. So let's give good drive percentage 10, maybe fairways gained 5. Bogey avoidance, I think, is going to be huge. Let's give that 15 as well. What else would we like to see here? Can we filter out by the length of the second shot? Yeah, see this, I think this is going to be huge. 175 to 200 and 200 to 225. I think those long iron approaches are going to be a huge key here. Course history, we don't care about that. Course types, I'd say long. We need to consider long courses. And then for this last 15%, let's just see over the last 36, how are you approaching? And let's use that as an initial model build and see where we get. So Siwoo Kim straight to the top. Aaron Rai, just shouted him. Not surprised to see him here. JJ Spawn, not surprised to see him here. Bezadenhout is interesting. Let's see why they like Bezadenhout. Top 20 weighted strokes gained, top 20 bogey avoidance, top 20 in that approach range, top 30. Top 20 in approach or last 36, and top 20 in fairways gained. Not the best driver of the golf ball, but interesting as we go to build a single entry lineup to keep Bezadenhout in mind. Akshay, I love his price down here. He's really solid. Bogey avoidance, maybe not the best, but he's rock solid everywhere else. He's going to be able to save you some salary. Woodland, that is very interesting to me. Woodland is not a guy that I would think to play over the last couple of years at least. Valimaki is very interesting to me. Cam Young, surprised to see him a little bit low. Initially would have thought he would have been top 5 in a model like this. Adam Scott, Harris English, who I like. Lee Hodges. Where was my guy? I know I mentioned that I did kind of like Novak. Where did Andrew Novak go? Is he anyone that fits this type of course? It does not appear to be the case. Just a score of 55, so kind of middling in this field. But Rai, definitely love at that price. Spawn, I'll try to play him. Akshay, I love at that price for the upside and the ceiling. Maybe Valimaki if we need some extra salary savings. But I really like where these are kind of the guys that I would have expected to see. So I'm glad that my mind and then a model for a course like this is tending to be in agreement with each other. Let's jump over to DraftKings and just play with something that might work as a single entry lineup. So I know I like Rye and I know I like Spawn. Let's get them both in, both top 3 in that model, and both guys that I think realistically can contend throughout the week. Where does that leave us? 8,200 per golfer. Maybe we go to a guy like Akshay, 7,400. Was there anybody in the model lower than that? Bezadenhout, right in that same range. If we need to save 100 at the end. Valimaki, who I do like, 6,800. And that's really about it before you get too far down there. So let's see what we have there between. I like the upside on Akshay a little bit better than Bezadenhout. I think the sports books agree with that. And then maybe we go Valimaki, so that we can get 2 kind of studs in here at the end. Let's see. Is there anybody else? Pavone, Damon. No, let's go Valimaki. Tom Kim is very interesting. Where did Tom Kim rate out in this? Was he anyone? 58. Yeah, he's 58. And Valimaki has a score of 72. So yeah, let's ride with Valimaki, and then we'll see where that leaves us in terms of those final 2 spots. So 93.50 each. I do like McNeely this week, and using McNeely would let me get up to. Would that give me? No, that wouldn't give me Cam Young. So let's see here. I like English. I like McNeely. What if we get off of... No, let's go. If we go English, that gets us to Day. I don't think Day is necessarily worthy of that price. Let's check once more on Jason Day, how he rated out here. He has historically played this course well, but over the last, calculated rounds, they don't love him here. So let's maybe stay away from Day. Might have to make a tough decision. Let's go McNeely. And can we get to Cam Young? I know the model didn't like Cam Young. I kind of like Cantlay. What does that make us do? Does that make us get off Batia for somebody else? It does. I really want to play Batia. Is there somebody we can go drop down from McNeely to Gerard? I don't hate that. Where did Gerard rate out in the model? Ryan Gerard. Is he anywhere near the top? 63. And how does that compare to McNeely? Let's see, between McNeely and Gerard, who was higher? I like McNeely, but he may not have rated out too well on here. Yeah, Gerard's just ahead of McNeely. So let's make that swap, and let's use that as just a quick lineup build of Rye, Spawn, Batia, Valimaki, Cantlay, and Gerard. And I think you have a lot of upside. Yeah, do you necessarily have Schauffele and Oberg both going off? You don't. But I think between Rye, Spawn, Batia, and Cantlay, you got a ton of upside. And then Valimaki rates out well here, can play well here. And then Ryan Gerard, I think you can, make a case that based on the way he's playing better than some of the guys who are more expensive than him. Wouldn't surprise me at all, even though Jason Day has all this experience at this course. If a guy like Gerard just beats him straight up head-to-head this week. So that is kind of where I am seeing things at this point. It's going to be a fun week. Really interesting test of golf coming off of such an easy course last week. there's guys you like, guys that you're interested for, guys that you're going to be using in one and done, guys that you like their outright numbers on, or sneaky DFS plays, let me know in the comments below. We'll be back next week to do it again. Good luck this week. Talk to you guys soon.